Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, as you can see, today we're not at our normal setting at the range. We're actually here today at one of the oldest gun stores in Pennsylvania, if not the whole US. We are at A.F. Boyer's in Slatington, Pennsylvania, and today we're met with Abel Boyer. So, Abel, if you want to tell everybody who you are and a little bit of a background about yourself.
Sure. So, my first podcast video that I've ever done. I am Abel Boyer. I'm the 5th generation owner of A.F. Boyer Hardware in Slatington, Pennsylvania. We're the oldest hardware and gun shop in the same family in the U.S. This year's 158 years we're in business. This is our 3rd location. We moved here in the early 1900s. I have 3 sons of my own, Alden, Archer, and Anderson.
That's awesome.
Which hopefully they'll take on the tradition one day. All of the males here that have owned the store have the initials AFB. So
that's amazing.
So we're all AFB, and the running joke of it is it would be more expensive to change a sign out front than to change a name. So
that makes sense.
So everybody's initials have all been AFB. My wife Shannon, she is here full time as well. She does a lot of the bookkeeping. She is in charge of all the Class 3 stuff here in the store, and she does literally everything here. She is the glue to the binder, if you would. She's the backbone of the store. My parents are still here in the store, which I purchased from them a couple years back, Alan and Debbie, and then also my great employees that I got here. So
that's
I got
awesome. Quite
a bit here. A little bit about me. I like the outdoors. I really enjoy shooting, fishing, hunting, spending time with my family. And we go for buggy rides on the 4-wheeler, so it's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is already in the 5th generation line of family that you guys have owned this place?
It is. So it started with Abel and Henry Boyer. They were brothers, and they started this business as a quarry supply store. And then over the years it progressed to being a hardware store, and then also guns. My dad really took charge of selling guns somewhere in the 70s, and really, that took off. But we also sell a lot of hardware as well, and then it progressed. It was Abner, Alden, Alan, and then myself, and hopefully that one day my boys will take over the business and enjoy it as much as I do.
And you'll have 6 generations of family then.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, so I got some questions here I want to ask you. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. So first, we're going to go over into a little section of just like the history of the business and stuff like that. So the first thing that I did want to ask is, when the store began, which you kind of went over a little bit, but when the store first began, were firearms always a part of the business initially, or did it start a little bit later, and about when did it start?
Sure. So when the store began, we were established in 1868 here in Slatington. Slatington was the slate capital of the world for a long time. All the blackboards in all of the schools and teaching schools, all that slate came from this town here. So when we were established, the 2 brothers, Abel and Henry Boyer, started out as a quarry supply. So here in Slatington, there's a lot of quarries. That's where they would mine all of the slate. And we sold dynamite, legit dynamite, to all the quarry supplies, pumps, hoses, all that stuff is how we were established. Progressing through the years, we picked up more hardware because that was sort of a hardware business, just
makes sense.
Quarry supplies. And then, like I said, my dad, roughly in the 70s, really had the guns sort of take over. That was his main focus. Now, rewind a little bit, my grandfather, Alden, he started selling guns. Okay. I'm going to say 40s to 60s he was selling guns, but it was a hobby of his. It was they mainly focused on the hardware, and he just enjoyed it. His friends enjoyed it, so that's how the guns really got started, and then my dad really took over. When my wife and I purchased the business from my parents, it was a main focus of mine at the time. Unfortunately, the world was going through COVID, and COVID times were some pretty crazy times for the gun industry. Everybody does 100%. Know that. So that was our main focus at the time, and from there it really has grown. Now, guns are a big part of the store, but so are hardware. We're still a hardware store, and we do both things. We sell grass seed, we sell nails by the pound, and we'll sell a box of ammo. So
cases or boxes of ammo. Yeah,
you got it.
One-stop shop.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, yeah, so the other question that we have, so we have about few other questions for this section. So, second one is, what kind of guns were commonly sold in the early days of the business?
Absolutely. So my grandfather, when he got into it, they would buy wooden crates of guns. And back then, things weren't as regulated. So some crates, if he bought a crate, they would normally have 13 guns in. There may be 14. So he ended up either keeping it or selling it, doing a bunch of other things. But what were the main guns that were sold at that time? It was really, guns back in the day were used as a tool, okay? So farmers were using them for crop damage. They were using them for varmints and rodents, stuff like that. So we mainly sold a lot of 22s and some deer hunting rifles here in PA. Everybody here in PA knows 30-30 as a woods gun here. So we sold, quite a bit of that. Back then, there was really no tactical stuff. There was no high capacity. So it was really used as a tool instead of more of an enjoyment like it is nowadays.
Yeah, more for like your common like hunters, farmers, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Like local guys that do all that in the Lehigh Valley area. So.
Yep. So that's really what we ended up selling. And then Winchester really came out with a lot of their commemorative rifles. And that's sort of when the collecting really started to evolve in the whole industry.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So now the other question I have is, over 5 generations, how has the shop changed?
How has the shop changed? So I touched a little bit on it. We started in 1868 uptown here in Slatington. Then we moved downtown to the same block as Bechtel's Pharmacy. And then we moved to this location early 1900s. The shop really hasn't changed a lot. And I'll be honest with you, selling guns was a thing that really changed, but hardware really doesn't change. It's kind of the same old stuff. Changes, a little bit of computers here and there, but we still do a lot of things pen and paper. There's no point of sale system here. I work long hours to make it happen. But we try and update a little bit of this. We started selling bait, so we sell live bait here, do hunting licenses. I'm stocking more ammo. Probably the newest change that we've had here is becoming a Class 3 dealer.
Yeah, the Silencer Shop kiosk I know you guys have over in the other room.
So Silencer Shop has been great for us. We were number 2 in the state last year here in PA.
Oh, wow.
Silencer sales. So that's a big evolving thing with no tax stamp anymore. But we're still the old-time hardware store feel. We got the old wooden floors that creak when you come in, the customer service, hey, how can I help you, type of ordeal. It's not the big box feel. So nothing has really changed other than maybe a few laws here and there, but it's still the old school. Yeah,
so basically products, all the other stuff that's coming in the door changes, but everything, the atmosphere, the feel, and everything is generally the same feeling as it's always been.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Hey guys, quick message before we get too far into the video. So we are an official partner now of the USCCA. So if you scan this QR code right here, you'll get access to a reciprocity map. So that way you're not going to break any laws going into different states, or if you want to move to a different state, you know what you can and can't have. Another thing too it'll give you information on is it'll give you information on states that may issue laws, shall issue laws, or if they have constitutional carry. So we'll have the differences between all of that, and it'll basically help you from avoiding breaking the law. So please go scan this code. It helps us make these videos for you guys. Are there any historic or memorable firearms that have passed through the shop at any point in time? Like any sort of guns that you've bought from, like, say, an estate sale or anything like that? Or somebody traded in or sold to you guys that was, like, kind of unique and, like, oh, what is this,
So we see a lot of stuff. That is something that we specialize in, is estates. Every week I'll have between 2 to 4, sometimes 5 or 6 different estates come in from people that have been customers forever. This past week we ended up buying a 60-gun military surplus collection on Monday. So a lot of stuff going on. Nothing that comes to mind that I can say, hey, we kept this and it's now going to stay in the shop. It's a commodity, and you gotta be able to sell stuff and make money to keep going and progress in business.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot that I can say that we've kept. My dad hasn't kept a lot of guns. I haven't kept a lot of guns. I mainly use them for hunting purposes and going out to the range and shoot. So I don't really have a per se gun that is a holy grail gun, right, to the family. I do have a pretty cool gun that Henry Repeating Arms sent to us 6 years ago for our 150th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So when we celebrated 150 years in business, I had a big sale here and reached out to Henry. I said, hey, we have your guns on our flyer. Is there anything that you can do to help us out with our sale? And Anthony Imperato reached out himself, which I thought was very cool, president of Henry.
That's awesome.
And he said, hey, we appreciate your business. We appreciate you selling our products. We want to send you a custom Henry Golden Boy. So it had a custom serial number. On the side plate, he had congratulations, the whole nine. And
that's awesome.
that's kind of a very cool thing because you don't get that personable feeling with some of these bigger companies because they're very big. But that Henry actually is right above us, hanging here in the store, and people can actually see it. And I'm very proud of it, and I thank Henry very much for that. Very great company, and we're a top 100 Henry dealer in the U.S. and continue to sell their products and support them as they support us.
That's awesome. Yeah, we actually just recently did a collaborative video with Henry a little bit at the NRA Outdoor Show back in February. So that's really cool. I didn't actually know that. That's actually really, really, really neat. That's awesome. All right, so next section that I would like to go into a little bit more is now, like, over time, obviously, especially how long you guys have been open for, obviously there's been a lot of historical events throughout the years. So that kind of goes into challenges that the stores might have gone through during all those years. I mean, since 1868, I mean, it's a very long time. So the first question I have is, have you seen a lot of changes in the firearms industry, and what stands out the most to you, at least as of currently?
To me, the biggest thing is the no $200 tax stamp paying for suppressors. That is definitely, for me, the biggest change that we've seen in the industry. The industry changes not a huge amount, though. We went through some pistol brace issues and regulations within the last couple of years. That has changed. Some paperwork stuff has always changed. They're always changing the 4473 every few years, changing the questions on that, but nothing drastic has really changed.
Okay, yeah, other than maybe even like you got stuff like the bump stocks and stuff like that here and there, which that's overturned now. People can get that again and stuff like that. And now the only other thing that I can think of that might be coming up in the future is maybe like the super safety stuff like that, or the forced reset triggers, because I know they're doing a bunch of stuff with that. So
there's no doubt that's definitely going to be addressed by ATF, I would think, in the near future.
Yeah, I'd say so. The other question I had is, over the generations, has there been a point where the business never made it through economic hardship?
Biggest time probably would have been the Great Depression, which my grandmother was and my grandfather were running the store at that time. Nothing was ever really said to me. Obviously, it was a very hard time for the whole world, right? Everybody was hurting at that time. Things were changing quite a bit. That was a rough time, but kept working, and the community obviously supported the store, and the store supported the community. So that was a very good relationship to be able to have the store continue to go. My brother passed away in 2004 in a car accident. He was 16 years old, and at that time my parents had a rough time going, and it wasn't an economic thing. It was more of a willpower thing, and I'm very thankful that they were able to continue the store and allow me to have the opportunity to continue our legacy here at the store. So.
That's good. That's good. Just keep pushing through. That's all you can do sometimes.
Absolutely.
So then the other question I had was, how has your customer preferences changed over the years?
Customer preferences. Touching on that, the first thing I want to say is everybody nowadays needs it immediately.
Yeah.
What changed that? I'm going to attribute Amazon. So Amazon has changed the world. We all know that. Next day shipping, same day shipping, which is absolutely crazy. So that has definitely changed a lot of the retail business, as in people, you can't stock every gun. I got thousands of guns, and you can't stock the exact one that everybody wants.
No,
so
not at all.
You do your best. You have it in a couple days, but they got to understand it's not going to be here the same day or maybe the next day. It's going to be a few days. So preferences on that. People, they want it now is their preference, and we do our best. I usually say 7 to 10 days. It's usually in 5 to 7 days is when we see
depending on which distributor you get it from or something like
that. Absolutely. Shipping times. Preference on guns, definitely seeing a lot more tactical stuff. People are wanting higher capacity stuff. We talked about FRTs, all that different stuff. So we're seeing a lot of tactical stuff, but we're also seeing the Ruger American Gen 2s. They just that part of the market is a bolt action hunting rifle, and they're aesthetically an awesome gun, and people really want those guns. So we're seeing a lot of bolt action rifle shooters like that. We went from wood stock to synthetic. It's lighter, it's more durable, it's less to show marks on it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But over the years, not a lot. I mean, we've seen the optics change, better glass, higher clarity, stuff like that. But everything's, for the most part, the same.
A lot of different manufacturers and all that good stuff.
No doubt. Manufacturers coming and going. That's a good point. We're seeing stuff come and go. New companies coming in, some old companies going out. You never know.
Yeah. So. Or change of hands of ownership of businesses, like,
Absolutely.
for example, Colt with CZ now and all that. So, yeah, I can see where there's a lot of different changes here and there.
Absolutely.
The other question I have for you for this section is, how has changes on firearms regulations and laws affected the business over time?
Really hasn't affected. I can't say that laws and regulations have affected. You got to abide by the rules. Just that simple. More paperwork? Absolutely. There's definitely more paperwork nowadays than there ever was.
Not surprising.
So other than that, you know, we all have to do the 4473, which is the federal form. PA here has a pistol form that we have to fill out every time we purchase a pistol. But other than that, the paperwork and the rules and stuff like that really hasn't changed a huge amount.
Okay, good. So that's not too bad. All right, next section I want to get into is more of your customer base and community, at least in the local or larger Lehigh Valley area, and maybe even beyond, who knows. So what type of customers you got that come into the shop, generally speaking?
Sure. We have everybody from 18 years old to 100 years old, and I mean that. We have a very wide selection of different stuff. We have ARs that are more tactical for younger people. We have the old deer hunting rifles for the older guys. We're seeing older farmers get into suppressors, so they're able to take care of crop damage. Down in hardware, we have everybody. Younger, older, doesn't matter. We also sell live bait down there, so that live bait brings younger. I have some kids that are 10, 12 years old, not even, coming and getting live bait to go fishing. So we see all walks of life here, male, female, doesn't matter. We're seeing a little bit of everybody, and it's cool to be able to interact with, an 18-year-old and then a 90-year-old. It's a little bit different interaction. And
that's awesome.
It is kind of cool. But the consumers that come into the shop, they're like family to me.
That's awesome. That's a good way of viewing it, at least.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. Now, the other question I have, which kind of leads up into what we're going to be talking about next, is have you seen a lot more first-time gun buyers? And I'm assuming that's probably going to be a yes because of COVID, but please elaborate a little bit on that.
Absolutely. We've definitely seen a lot more first-time buyers. Right initially as COVID hit the world, we've seen a huge amount of people that were first-time buyers. And be honest with you, not everybody is cut out to be a gun owner. And as a business owner, you'd love to sell them that gun. However, you do the right ethical thing, and I would tell them, hey, you're not comfortable with this gun, you probably should look at getting some mace or bear spray to protect yourself. And a lot of people take it great. They understand, what, maybe this isn't the right thing. Somebody suggested it, but maybe it's not for me. A lot of first-time buyers. We're still seeing a lot of first-time buyers. Every day I have people come in. Absolutely. It could be an older lady that wants to buy a revolver because she can't pull the slide back on a semi, and it can be an 18-year-old kid that wants to come in and he wants to buy his first AR, right? So whatever it may be, but we see a lot of first-time buyers, and our biggest thing here is teaching them about the gun, making sure that they are well educated and comfortable with it before they walk out that door.
Good. That's awesome. I mean, with my line of work with doing the instructing and everything, being an official partner of the USCCA and everything, I mean, I can definitely attest to that. It's definitely good to have people at least know what they're doing and knowing what they're using, even before necessarily even taking a class from me. So it's good that we have people like you that teach them and show them a little bit of that before they walk out the door and take like a basic pistol class or a basic rifle class. So
absolutely.
That's awesome. So then the other thing I have for you for this section is, how important is the hunting culture in the area with the firearms relation to the business?
Hunting in this area is very popular. very, very popular. I can tell you we are losing a lot of hunting land to warehouses in the area, unfortunately. However, there is a lot of hunting that still goes on. We're thankful for the game lands. We're thankful for the old-time farmers that did not sell to put these, big warehouses or whatever it may be up. But hunting in this area is huge. And we have a little bit of everything. We got a lot of small game. We have a lot of predator hunters. We have deer hunters. We have bear hunters. We have turkey hunters. So there's a lot of hunters to make sure the conservation part of that is well in hand in our area. And we sell. There's always guys that are looking at the new gun, and they see Ruger or Marlin or whatever it may be, Weatherby coming out with something new, and they got to have it. It's a cool thing.
Or they see 6.5 Creedmoor or 338 Lapua or something like that. So, I get it.
Absolutely. So that's seeing a lot of hunters, and it definitely fuels. When we get closer to deer season, you'd be surprised at how many people come in the week before deer season and want a new deer hunting rifle. Kind of gives me a chuckle every time, but it is what it is, People want that new gun or a new shotgun for small game, whatever it may be, waterfowl. So we stock a little bit of everything, and that's why we do well with all the hunters. And they come in for all their whatever they need.
Yeah, I've definitely seen one or two times where somebody comes in maybe the day before hunting season. They're like, yeah, I'm here to get a new hunting rifle. You gonna have time to sight that thing in?
Yeah, that is quite interesting. I will agree with that.
Oh, God. All right, so now we're going to get in our next section that I want to talk about, and that's kind of the local business, like mom and pop brick and mortar shops versus your big conglomerates, like, for instance, Cabela's or something like that. So for the first question I have for you is, in your opinion, what makes a local gun shop different from a big chain retailer?
What makes a big difference there is customer service. One thing that I pride myself on is customer service. I always want to go above and beyond for the customer. Everybody wants the newest, hardest to get item on the market, right? When they release a gun, it's, I got to have this. So my biggest thing is just going above and beyond and being able to get that hard to get gun that they called to 10 different shops or 15 different shops and they couldn't get. And I make it happen for them. So that's one big thing. I don't have the huge overhead that maybe a Cabela's or a Bass Pro has. So we're able to keep our prices down. And that's one thing that I pride myself on as well, is to be able to keep prices as low as possible. People shop online nowadays, so everything is there that they can see it at their fingertips. And I can say ammo and guns and all that, a large amount and a high volume of that with low prices is really what I do. One other thing that I think that we do well is the used inventory. I have a lot of used inventory that's here.
Oh, definitely, and, 100% you do.
Guys come in and they're looking for mil surplus, they're looking for pre-64 Winchesters, whatever it may be. So we see a lot of that used inventory, and that gives us a little advantage over, the big box stores as well. And seeing the same face, right? They come in and they know that they're going to get treated right. They know that they're going to get customer service, and they know that I'm going to go above and beyond of whatever it may be to make what they want done happen.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, 100%. Now, the other question I have for that is, why do you think customers keep coming back to a family-owned shop like your own? Customers come back and they have loyalty to different places because they feel like they're getting treated right and they feel like family. One thing that I can tell you is my three boys, I have Alden, Archer, and Anderson. The oldest is 4 and the youngest is 11 months. And they are down in this store quite often. Mm-hmm. And the customers get to see my kids and interact with them, and they get to see them grow. And it's a very personable experience. In a corporate setting, everything is by the book and in stone. And here, it's a lot different. You're like a family member, and we treat everybody like a family member. And that's why I can contest to a lot of people coming back to us, because they know they're going to get treated right, whether they're buying or selling. And it's a homey feeling here. You feel like you're at home. That's understandable. Yeah, like a nice atmosphere and everything.
Absolutely.
Coming into the store. That's
Absolutely.
great. That's great. Now, the other question I have for this is the last question for this section, and that is, What advice can you give to people buying their first firearm?
You must be well educated in it. You cannot come into the store, and I tell everybody, my running joke at the end of doing my spiel and doing all the paperwork is, please do not let this gun sit in this box when you get home for a couple months. My biggest thing is get educated, get out to the range, get comfortable with it, and do different scenarios so you know what to expect in a time of need when you need to use that gun. Most first-time buyers will buy the gun, they will leave the store with a box of ammo, and they will never see the range, ever. It's a very sad thing. However, at the time they wanted to buy a firearm, they did, and they just either got busy or this or that. My biggest thing is be educated, and don't think that going to the range one time is going to make you know how to shoot a gun. Make sure you're going a couple times a year. You're definitely sharpening up on all of your skills, and so you know what to be prepared for.
And definitely go to the range as much as you can when you can, because that's definitely a big thing. Coming from an instructor, that is definitely a big thing, because I get people that come to my classes and they've never shot the gun before, or they've never shot a gun before, and sometimes they sign up for a basic pistol class, which is great, but sometimes they sign up for, like, say, a concealed carry class, and they still don't know how to manipulate their own firearm, and it's like, oh, well, you should have taken this class first, and I even put that in my description, so I definitely feel on that part. So,
absolutely.
All right, so now getting into our last section, which is basically the future of the business. And the first question I have for that for you is, where do you see the firearms industry going in the next 10 years?
I continue to see this industry grow, and that's a great thing for everybody, for gun manufacturers, for ammo manufacturers, for shops, for anybody. The gun industry has grown. People have now understood why, there's tactical shooting, and there's competition shooting, and there's long distance, there's home protection, there's hunting, there's a little bit of everything. And the industry is always going to be growing because the companies want to come out with the next best, coolest thing, right? Yep. Nobody wants to be behind the eight ball. They want to be in front of it. So I see the industry growing. I see more people getting out to the range and enjoying shooting. I see more first-time buyers because their parents purchased a gun. They want to feel like, hey, I'm 18. I want to go buy my first gun.
You want to feel included, basically.
Absolutely. So I see the industry growing. You're definitely going to have bumps in the road, ebbs and flows, highs and lows. There's no doubt. Economy does drive a little bit of it. Economic stuff also will. So it all depends on, that stuff, but I see it growing within the next 10 years, even more.
Okay. Now the other question I have is, what challenges do small mom and pop shops face today, do you think?
The internet.
I can agree with that.
It's 100% the internet. Mom and pop shops are always facing the internet because what I said to you before about Amazon, right? Everybody is now sit at home, buy something at home, get it delivered to your home without ever having to leave your home.
Yeah.
So, the big thing is the internet, and that's a very hard thing. And I'll tell you, the biggest thing is that you go back to treating the customers right, getting the customer service that you want. If they buy a gun and there's a problem with the gun, I'm here to help them, So I don't just wash my hands of it. I'll get involved, whatever it may be, to make it right for the customer. So the biggest challenge is the internet. There's no doubt that more people also texting. Nobody wants to talk on the phone. Nobody wants to talk face to face. That's another thing that I've noticed as well. But
really quick and snappy, like, do you have this? Yes, no, okay, all right, bye. Yeah,
absolutely, no doubt. And if I can help a customer, I'm going to go that extra mile to make sure that we're going to get the product for them. Everything's going to be good. They're going to be happy. Instead of buying it from an online source that you have no face to and you don't even know who you're supporting. Right?
Exactly.
When you come into a mom and pop shop and you see the dog laying on the bed back there and the wife and husband working and maybe a kid over there, you know where your money's going. You know who you're supporting. You know who's going to support you if you have to sell something. So my biggest thing is support your local businesses. Get out. Don't give the online guys all of the money. If it's another $10, $15, help them mom and pop shops out that help you.
Yeah, definitely want to support local business, especially for, I mean, you guys have been very dedicated to Lehigh Valley and surrounding areas for a very long time, and I think it's very good to support local business as a whole anyway.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is supporting local business. You have to do that, because if you think about it, you're really not going to see the big corporation names on somebody's baseball team, right?
Yeah,
or a soccer team or advertise. You're going to see the local small mom and pop shops.
Exactly. So. And the last question I have for you for this section, and that is, what does the future look like for AF Boyers going forward?
Future looks bright. We're very excited. My wife and I are in our 30s. We're raising our family. I have my parents here. We have been cranking on all cylinders. We continue to grow the business. Within the next 5 years, I can't let any cats out of the bag yet, but we're excited for some type of expansion here at the store. So we're definitely looking to grow our footprint in the business and be able to service more customers, have more inventory, stuff like that. So I see a bright future. I do hope that in 15, 20 years, when my boys are old enough, that they will, gravitate towards the business and enjoy it as much as I do. However, I'm not going to force them into it. And my parents didn't force me into it. It was something that I enjoy, being able to interact. You as a customer coming in, just getting to talk to people, learn what they do on an everyday basis, and just get a little bit of knowledge of everybody. It's kind of a cool thing. So future for us, I'm very excited for going forward to be able to expand the store and reach new goals.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that's all the questions I have, basically. Other than that, we'll just kind of go over it real quick. So as I stated in the beginning of the video, we are at AF Boyers in Slatington, Pennsylvania. Has been through 5 generations of family, hopefully going on to a 6th. Been around for 150, going on 58 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so definitely if you want to support a local business like that, go check them out. They are in Slatington, Pennsylvania. And again, this is Abel Boyer. If you guys like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe the video. And please click the bell notification icon to get notified when we upload next. Until next time, guys, we'll see you in the next video.